meant for more than this, you know.
In the movie's opening scene, we see a snowy, icy place in the Arctic. Scientists find an old plane and go inside. They discover Captain America's shield, and the story flashes back to 1942. A man named Johann Schmidt, who works for Adolf Hitler, is in charge of a Nazis' science group called Hydra. He's smart and knows a lot about history, science, and magic. He takes his soldiers to a church to search for something important. He finds what he's looking for, but it's fake. The priest tells him, "You don't deserve this power." Johann then notices a hidden button on the wall. When he presses it, a mysterious box appears. Inside is a glowing blue cube, the Tesseract, a powerful ancient object. Johann kills the priest and takes it. The story jumps to 1943, where we meet Steve Rogers, a skinny young man who wants to join the army and help his country during the war. But he keeps getting rejected because of his health problems. His best friend, Bucky Barnes, is already a soldier. Bucky takes Steve to a science exhibition where Howard Stark, Tony Stark's father, shows off a flying car. There, Steve sees an army recruitment ad and tries to sign up again, but Bucky tells him to give up. Steve says, "Our soldiers are fighting for freedom. I want to help too." A scientist named Dr. Abraham hears him and is impressed. Later, during Steve's medical checkup, the doctors reject him again. But Dr. Abraham steps in and lets him join the army. In training, Steve struggles because he's weak. During an exercise, soldiers try to grab a flag from a tall pole, but no one can reach it. Steve knocks the pole over and takes the flag, surprising everyone. The next day, Dr. Abraham Erskine tells the base in charge, Colonel Phillips, that he has chosen Steve for a secret super soldier program. The colonel disagrees, saying Steve is too weak.
He's making me cry.
To test the soldiers, the colonel throws a fake grenade at them. Everyone runs away, except Steve, who jumps on it to protect other soldiers. This proves Steve is brave and selfless. And Dr. Abraham has chosen the right person for the experiment. Meanwhile, Johann is working with his scientists, using the Tesseract's energy to power an energy-harnessing machine, designed by Dr. Zola. He's excited. This energy can now fuel Hydra's weapons and ships. The war is about to change, Dr. Zola says, while Johann Schmidt says, the world is about to change. Meanwhile, Peggy Carter, Steve's superior, takes him to Brooklyn, where Dr. Abraham and Howard Stark are preparing for the super soldier experiment. Stark has built a special machine for the procedure. Steve enters the machine's chamber, and the serum is injected into his body. Then, Vita rays are fired at him, slowly increasing in power. At 70%, sparks fly. Dr. Abraham wants to stop, but Steve insists, "I can do this." Then, Howard pushes it to 100%. When the machine opens, Steve is completely transformed. He is no longer weak and sickly, but strong and muscular. The experiment is a success. But then, one of Johann's spies attacks, stealing the last serum vial and shooting Dr. Abraham. Steve chases him, now faster than a car. But the spy breaks the serum vial and kills himself with poison, shouting,
"Hail, Hydra!"
With Dr. Abraham dead and the last serum bottle destroyed, the US Army can't make more super soldiers. Steve is the only one. News spreads about Steve catching the spy, making him famous. The military decides to use him for propaganda, dressing him as Captain America to sell war bonds and support the troops. But Steve hates this. He wants to fight the real war, not perform. Steve learns that Bucky's unit was wiped out by Hydra, and the survivors were captured. The military refuses to rescue them, saying the Hydra base is too dangerous. But Steve decides that he won't give up on his only friend. With Peggy and Stark's help, he flies to the Hydra base alone, jumps out of the plane, and sneaks inside. He frees the prisoners and goes to find Bucky. When he does, Bucky is weak and injured, because Hydra had been experimenting on him. Steve approaches and says, "I thought you were dead." Bucky replies, "I thought you were smaller." As Steve helps him escape, Johann himself appears, blocking their way. When Johann removes his mask, his face is revealed, a terrifying red skull. Long ago, he worked with Dr. Abraham and tested an unfinished super soldier serum on himself. It gave him strength but also ruined his face, turning him into the Red Skull. He escapes with his scientist, while Steve rescues Bucky and the other soldiers, returning them safely to camp. Colonel Phillips, who once doubted Steve, is now impressed and fully trusts him. Steve tells Peggy Carter that he noticed Hydra base locations on a map during the mission and wants to attack them. Steve visits Howard Stark, who shows him some weapons and a new shield made of vibranium, the rarest metal on Earth. This became Captain America's iconic shield. With his team, Captain America destroys multiple Hydra bases. Along the way, he and Peggy Carter grow closer and fall in love. On a dangerous mission, Captain America gets a lead. Hydra's lead scientist, Dr. Zola, is going to a meeting. Captain America and his team capture Dr. Zola from a moving train. But during the fight, Bucky loses his grip and falls into a deep gorge, seemingly to his death. Dr. Zola reveals in front of Colonel Phillips that Red Skull believes he is following God's footsteps and plans to launch bombs worldwide, which will destroy entire cities. Captain America makes a plan to stop Johann's evil plan and storms Red Skull's base, where the villain escapes on a bomber plane with the Tesseract and many bombs with the names of cities written on them. Steve follows and fights him mid-air. During the battle, Red Skull grabs the Tesseract, but its power becomes unstable. It opens a space portal, and the Red Skull disappears in that portal. The Tesseract falls into the plane, melting through the metal. Then, Steve realizes the plane is out of control, and he must crash it to save lives. Over the radio, Peggy begs him not to, but Steve sacrifices himself, steering the plane into the Arctic ice. The Tesseract is recovered by Howard Stark, but Captain America remains frozen in ice. 70 years later, in the present day, Steve wakes up in a hospital. A nurse tells him he's in New York, but he notices a 1940s baseball game playing on the radio, a game from before his crash. Confused, he runs outside to Times Square, only to find that the world has completely changed. Nick Fury appears and explains, "Your plane crashed 70 years ago. You've been frozen in ice this whole time, alive but unconscious. Welcome to the modern world."
I had a date.
In a post-credits scene, Fury offers Steve a new mission, setting up his future adventures of the Avengers movie. If you enjoyed this recap of Captain America, don't forget to like and share the video. For more interesting content, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update.